Why do disadvantaged groups
get their own lawyers?
Who wrote these questions?
They don't all get their own lawyers.
No.
I mean, that's an assumption in that question.
Because without legal aid, they'll have no lawyers. It's quite simple. How is that fair? Why should someone be punished because of their economic status?
Legal support is really, really expensive. Just like we have Medicare, we have legal aid.
Disadvantaged groups need their own lawyers because they need a voice. And if we can't realise as a taxpayer that that wealth needs to be distributed to those less fortunate than yourself, then I think we've got some real problems.
It's a balance of power thing, that's what it is. And we've seen, and particularly in more recent times, what happens when some groups have a disproportionate balance of power. It silences and it oppresses other groups. And those groups so often are what we call disadvantaged groups. And on that basis alone, these groups deserve the advocacy and the lawyers to do what's right.
I think if people really saw the clients that we saw and the disadvantage that we saw and the situations these families were in, they wouldn't think twice about us representing them or wondering where the money's going or why the funding should be there.
I think most people would agree that a 13-year-old with an intellectual disability doesn't need to be in jail for swearing.
But the reality is that there are so many barriers that our clients face. For example, I do family law, so they say, I have a family law problem and they have a family law problem, but I'm paying for my own lawyer. Yes, but you don't have the generational disadvantage that comes with it. And there I go using the word I don't like.
Even understanding what is happening can be tremendously difficult. Doing that in a crisis situation can mean it's impossible for many of our clients. So without our support, the courts would actually shut down. That's why disadvantaged people need legal aid.
Oh, legal aid is not free. Conceptually, that's also a misunderstanding that legal aid is free. We have this idea that people make a contribution and that contribution is small, it might be marginal, but it's also proportionate to what we're working on.
Everyone deserves access to justice, but some people might not have the financial means to do so. And I think a society that doesn't take care of their disadvantaged is not a society that I myself want to live in or that most Australians would want to live in, really.
Indigenous Australians, even though they're less than 3% of the population, they are hugely overrepresented in custody. Indigenous children make up more than half the children who are in custody.
Those perceptions really do annoy me. The idea that Indigenous Australians get stuff for free, get special treatment. I'm a Darug Barramudigal woman. My community's Western Sydney. I was raised in Wagga Wagga, which is Wiradjuri country, and people aren't there getting special treatment. There is so much systemic disadvantage in our communities. So that idea that why did they get something that I don't get? Learn your history.
we just got to keep talking about our clients. We've got to keep talking about why our work matters. I'm just hopeful.
Yeah, why they matter, you know, why keeping a roof over their head matters. Or
it's very real, and you're helping people at the most vulnerable times of their lives and feel like you really can make a difference.
One such example was a client who was on bail, and he turned up at my office and had been living out of his car. So I brought him in and spoke to him and sent him down to the local shopping centre so he could get himself some lunch, and gave him some money, and then managed to, by late that afternoon, organise some emergency housing for him. I think that was a really good outcome for him. He was, you know, really having a very difficult time, and I was able to make all that difference.